Hey guys, I hope you're doing well today. Today I'm going to bring you guys a new series. We're going to do a beginner tutorial on how to get started with the game. So today we're going to cover the settings that you should set up when you first start the game, basic car control, and also flipping your car to show you all the directions you can flip and how to optimize how you flip your car. So first things first, we're just going to jump into training here. Training is going to be your best friend when you start up the game. This just allows you to practice and get used to how your car moves and how the ball moves around. So yeah, let's jump in. Okay guys, so once we're in training, the first thing we're going to do before we try drive around or even try hit the ball is going to hit start, and we're going to come down to options. Your gameplay here, you can pretty much leave most of this to default. I just changed this value here from game stats displayed. I think it might be set to all stats. They maybe changed that, but I like to have mine on main stats only. This is just the pop-ups that show during the gameplay. If there's a pass or a certain type of goal, a little pop-up will pop up. I don't like to have too many, so I go main stats only here. The next thing we're going to do is going to jump over to our camera settings. You definitely want to turn camera shake off. You're going to have a hard time kind of controlling your car, or it's just going to give you a bit of a headache when you have that on. Field of view, I have 110, but you can feel free to crank this down if you're having a hard time seeing what you're doing or just controlling your car. But play around with these settings. Don't be scared to tweak them a little bit. You can always go online, find other people's settings they use, and try them out. I have a distance of 280. This is just the distance the camera is away from your car. The height of my camera, I have at 100. The angle is just the angle that your camera is pointing at. I have set to -8. The stiffness, this controls how rigid your camera follows your car. So yeah, I have that set to 0.6. That's just if you're turning kind of fast, there'll be a little bit lag between the camera following you. So I have that set to 0.6. Your swivel speed. Now this is when you can move the camera around a little bit with your right analog stick. I'll just show you here. This is just the speed at which this kind of swivel effect happens. So I have that set to 3, and the transition speed controls the speed of the transition between the car and the ball camera modes, and I have that set to 1. So this is just when you're hopping in and out of ball cam, you have this kind of transition here. So I definitely wouldn't have that too high because it's going to be, you're going to have a bit of a headache here. So I'll just show you. If you crank this up too high, if I have it at 2, it's just going to be, instant. There's no transition at all. You're going to have a hard time figuring out where the ball is. Invert swivel is on by default. You can change that if you don't quite like it. Now, the controls are quite important here. So all these, again, these settings here are kind of subject to your change. I don't mess around with them too much, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you want, you can look up. Well, it comes up with a description on the bottom of what all these do, so you can kind of play around with them a bit. But we're going to jump into our controls here. And there's a few settings I would highly recommend you change off the bat. This is going to give you a much easier time later down the line if you change them right away. So if we come down here, these are my settings here. I have jump on X, I have my boost set to circle. My power slide, I think, is defaulted to square. Now, I have it on L1. Not everybody has these settings, by the way. A lot of people use different settings, so, feel free to use your own. So my power slide's on L1. I've unbound my air roll button. Now I'll show you why in a second. I have focus ball on L3. That just gives me, I can do it a bit quicker. I never have to take my finger off the analog stick to switch between ball cam and car cam. So I find that really handy, and that's helped me out a lot. My rear view is set to R3. That's just so you can look behind your car. Yeah, these again, these don't matter too much for my control setup here. But the most important ones here is if we come here, we've got air roll right and air roll left. Now, I highly recommend that you at least set one of these, your air roll right or your air roll left, to L1 or R1. So if it's air roll right, I would have it on R1, and if it's air roll left, I would have it on L1. You don't have to bind these both. Now, what this is air rolling is when you jump in the air and you can turn your car to one side. And by default, it's going to be set so that you have to hold L1 like this and move one of these, your analog stick, and that'll move your car around. Now, some people like that. Personally, I played like this for probably about 500 to 600 hours, and then I decided to make the change, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel if you have the ability to air roll left or right, you have complete control over where your car goes. It's just a much handier, you know, there might be situations later down the line once you get a bit better at the game that you'll need to air roll in either direction. So you can choose whether you want to bind both of them, or if you just want to bind the one and keep, say, air roll left to L1 and the analog stick. But yeah, I highly recommend changing at least one of these here. Besides that, I think everything else is pretty much bog standard for me, apart from the drift and the air roll buttons there. So yeah, the next thing here we've got our interface. You probably want to change these interface. The nameplate scale is set for me at 100%. I think I did have this higher before. This is just the how big people's names will appear in online matches. Makes it a bit clearer to see them. Let's see, match notifications. Yep, the rest of this isn't too important here. You can just kind of probably just leave most of these default and you won't have any problems. If you're playing on console, you won't have as many options here in the video settings, but one thing you are going to want to do is come along to the right hand side here in advanced settings, and you're going to disable all these values here apart from transparent goalposts. So all these settings, they're just pretty, you know, they're going to impact your performance of the game. They're going to lower your frame rate, and in a game like this, you want to have as many frames as you can when you're playing. The more frames you have, the bigger advantage you're going to have. So turn all these off besides transparent goalposts. Transparent goalposts is just it's a feature they added a while back, but as you can see here, I can just look straight through the post here, and if I go turn it off, like this. It's not too bad on this map. There's still got a bit of transparency, but you can see I don't nearly have as much vision as I did when I turned transparent goalposts off. Oh, on, sorry. So let's turn that back on. Audio, you can just yeah, mess around with this as well if you want, just to change this, yeah, standard volume settings. And you've got chat. Now, this is kind of an underrated feature, I would say. There's a few really good tags you can put on, bind to your controls. You can just play around with them, find them. They've added a few, like where would it be? They've got on your left and on your right. I've not bound them, but yeah, right here, on your left, on your right. Now these could be really handy, just to let your teammate know if you're not in comms, if you're on the left or on the right. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. These are normally just used to spam if your teammate messes up, or you want to congratulate your teammate on a nice goal. But yeah, that's going to be it for all the settings here. Let's jump into how we're going to control our car. Okay, so once we're back in training here, we're going to learn how to control our car. So the first thing you want to do is just ignore the ball, just drive around the field a little bit. Remember, you can toggle ball cam on and off. I recommend turning it off while you're trying to learn how to control your car. It's just going to give you a better view. If I drive around with ball cam on here, you can see that it's focusing on the ball. So turn that off just so you can see your car. And you can see I've got this little arrow popping up, and that just shows me the direction of the ball as well, so that can be quite handy, just for gauging where the ball's going to be. But first of all, just you hold R2 and just try to control your car, drive around a little bit, and just see if you can drive around the field. Get used to how your car is going to feel. Just like so. Now in game, you're gonna want to learn how to boost as well. So holding circle is going to boost your car forwards, and then you're going to hit supersonic. So see on the screen here, this is something the game doesn't tell you, but once you boost and you see this effect on your screen, with that I can now release boost and I'm going to keep going at that speed. So you just need to remember, once you see those effects coming up on your screen, you should no longer need to use boost. Boost is the only resource in this game, and it's very valuable, so you want to try conserve as much boost as you can. So once you get up to this full speed, you can release boost and then just try drive around the field. If you turn too sharply, you're going to stop going supersonic now, you're no longer going that speed. But if you just turn lightly, you'll keep up that speed, then you lose it there. So just get used to driving around the field, learn where the boosts are. So these big boosts on the side, they give you 100 boost. If you go into options, you can actually turn off this unlimited boost and free play option, and that's just gonna, you know, I can boost and get rid of all my boost. So learn where all these boosts are. You've got these 6 boosts that are on the map. So you've got these ones in the corner boosts, you got these mid boosts, and yeah, the other corners here. And then you've also got these little pads here. So I'll just get rid of all my boosts. So these little pads here, they give you 12 boost. Now, when you first start out the game, pretty much nobody picks these up. You can kind of like, there'll be maps. I can maybe throw up a little image on the screen of where all these boost pads are on the map, but it's going to be good to learn this early on, where these boost pads are, these small boosts, and just learn some patterns you can take. So right here you've got this semicircle around your goalpost. Now this can be really good if you're defending and say the opponents have taken both your boosts here, then you can just pick up a few small pads, do a little semicircle here, and then yeah, you're going to be good, then you can go back and defend. Another good a good path for the boosts here is, I'll just nudge this ball out the way a second, is say you take a shot and you've missed and now you need to turn back, the ball's heading back towards your net, you can flip down this line and pick up all these boosts down the middle. That can be a really good way of getting a lot of boosts when you're coming back. You've also got this kind of ring on the side you can take. So you've got this kind of big semicircle here. You can get a lot of boosts that way. And there's a lot of options for you there when you're picking up these boost pads. It's just going to be, it's going to come with time and just practice, and over time you'll learn where these boost pads are. Now the great thing about Rocket League is no matter what map you're playing on, all the boosts in the game are going to be in the same locations. Unless you're playing some of the what do you call them? Like the yeah, there's some like wacky maps that are there for the game mode Rumble, but for the standard game mode, all these boost pads are going to be exactly the same. So yeah, just learn where the boost pads are, and that's going to give you a much easier time. That's going to be it for this tutorial. Drop us a like if the video's helped you out, and put down a comment down below on what you'd like to see next. I think next video we're going to show you how to flip into the ball efficiently to get good speed on the ball and get better shots on net. I'm going to leave a link to my Discord and my Twitch down below if you're interested. The Discord is a good place to come hang out, find some teammates that are maybe the same rank as you, and just share some clips and have some fun. But yeah, consider subscribing if you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy.